Nicki Minaj might be about to lose everything. Her $20 million mansion in Hidden Hills is reportedly on the verge of being seized, and the timing couldn't be more devastating. Just as she's locked in the most vicious public battle of her career with Cardi B, reports surface that a court could force the sale of her dream home over a debt she's been dodging for years. We're talking about $500,000 that she supposedly refuses to pay, despite being worth somewhere between $150 and $190 million. The whole situation raises one massive question. Why would someone with that kind of money let things get this far? And what we found out about how this all started will blow your mind. The drama traces back to one night in March 2019 during Nicki's tour stop in Frankfurt, Germany. Thomas Weidenmuller was working as head of security that night, just doing his job like any other show. He had no idea this would be the night that would eventually put Nicki's entire empire at risk. According to court documents, everything went sideways after a male fan broke through the barrier and rushed the stage. Nicki allegedly went off on the female security guard who let it happen, reportedly getting very upset and throwing a shoe. Weidenmuller stepped in to calm things down and console the distressed guard, thinking he was just de-escalating the situation like any good security chief would. But that decision to help would cost him everything. Nicki allegedly called him to her dressing room. Kenneth Petty was there, along with 2 other security guards. What happened in that room changed everything. Weidenmuller claims Petty struck him in the face without any warning, completely blindsiding him. The impact caused serious facial injuries that would haunt him for years. He was rushed to the hospital where doctors delivered devastating news. The damage was so severe that he'd need 8 different medical procedures just to repair his face. They had to insert 5 metal plates to hold everything together. Think about that for a second. 8 procedures, 5 metal plates, all from one incident. But here's where the story takes an even darker turn. Weidenmuller did what anyone would do. He filed a lawsuit against both Nicki and Kenneth, expecting at least some kind of response or acknowledgement, but neither of them bothered to respond. They didn't show up, didn't file any paperwork, nothing. Radio silence. So in March 2024, the court had no choice but to enter a default judgment against them for over $500,000. That was a year and a half ago. And according to the guard's lawyers, they still haven't seen a single penny. Not $1. Now Weidenmuller is taking the nuclear option. He's asking the court to step in and force the sale of Nicki's Hidden Hills property to collect what he's owed. And when you see the numbers, you'll understand why this could actually happen. Court filings describe the mansion as having 11 bedrooms and 16 bathrooms, spanning nearly 12,000 square feet of pure luxury. Nicki bought it back in December 2022 for $19.5 million, and it's now valued at around $20 million. But there's a mortgage lien of over $13 million on the property, plus a homestead exemption of about $700,000. When you subtract all that, there's still roughly $6 million in equity sitting there, more than enough to cover the debt, the interest, and all the legal fees. The math isn't even complicated. She has the equity, she reportedly has the net worth, so why isn't she paying? That's the question everyone's asking, and the answer might shock you. The craziest part is that Weidenmuller's legal team isn't holding back in their court filings. They stated that Nicki is a global music superstar, estimated to be worth anywhere from $150 to $190 million, and that she's reportedly the highest paid female rapper in the world. They emphasize there's little doubt she's highly capable of paying the judgment in full, yet she's refused to do so despite multiple written requests and attempts to collect. The lawyers even said it's regrettable that they have to take the extraordinary measure of forcing the sale of her home, but that the result is entirely the product of her refusal to pay. They made it clear this isn't about the money being unavailable. It's about her choosing not to handle it. But wait until you hear what was happening at the exact same time these court documents dropped. Right as these legal papers are making headlines, Nicki finds herself in the middle of an all-out war with Cardi B. The timing is almost too perfect, and Cardi's fans are having a field day with it. It all started in late September 2025 when Cardi dropped her sophomore album, Am I the Drama? The project debuted at #1 and reportedly went double platinum, with some outlets calling it the best performing album from a female rap act in history. Cardi was celebrating, her fans were celebrating. Everything seemed perfect. That's when Nicki decided to step in. She hopped on Twitter and started firing shots. She questioned the sales numbers, claimed they were inflated by bundles and discounts, and mocked the fact that Cardi's album was being promoted for $4.99. She even reposted AI-generated images comparing Cardi to Barney the dinosaur, giving her the nickname Barney Dangerous. She started making comments about Cardi's pregnancy and took jabs at her personal life. It was relentless, but Nicki had no idea what Cardi was about to unleash. Cardi wasn't about to let that slide. Not this time. She clapped back immediately with a response that cut deep. She told Nicki that someone her age with 16 years in the game should be comparing herself to peers like Rihanna, Taylor Swift, and Drake, not someone who just dropped their second album. That was just the warm-up. Then things took a dark turn that nobody saw coming. Cardi made serious accusations about Nicki's lifestyle choices and alleged prescription medication use. She claimed Nicki had been seeking medical help for family planning issues that were supposedly connected to these habits. Cardi even went as far as making claims about Nicki's son, Papa Bear, which crossed a major line that had fans on both sides gasping. She posted it all with the phrase "not allegedly," as if daring Nicki to prove her wrong. The gloves were completely off now. On the flip side, Nicki fired back with equally hurtful comments about Cardi's daughter, Culture. She also brought up Cardi's relationship with NFL star Stefon Diggs and questioned her as a mother. The whole exchange became so intense over 3 days of non-stop posting that both of them eventually posted what they called apologies. But anyone reading them could tell they were dripping with sarcasm and shade. Lines like apologizing for things the other person would have to explain to their kids when they grow up. It was brutal. The damage was done, and fans on both sides were in full attack mode, turning social media into an absolute war zone. But here's what most people missed during all that chaos. Cardi had actually been planning this for months. She'd already been throwing subliminal shots at Nicki in her album, and once you know what to listen for, they're impossible to miss. On the track called Imaginary Players, she raps about someone being striped like Tom Brown and needing to calm down. Fans immediately connected that to the striped Tom Brown dress Nicki wore to the Met Gala earlier in 2025. Clever, right? But that wasn't even the most obvious shot. The most direct line came on a song featuring Summer Walker, where Cardi says "Guess who doing shows for near free and pockets hurting." When that dropped, the internet absolutely exploded. Why? Because it's a direct reference to something that happened months earlier. Back in January 2024, a blogger named Ken Barbie sent out a tweet that went viral. The blogger claimed Nicki was millions of dollars in debt to the IRS and that she was essentially touring for free because she owed the government so much money. The tweet alleged that Nicki had liens on her publishing and her tour deals, and that her advance from her last tour was gone, meaning this current tour was just to pay off what she owed. At the time, a lot of people brushed it off as gossip and internet drama. Nicki's fans defended her hard, saying there was no way someone worth that much could be broke. But now, with the mansion seizure reports coming out and Cardi literally rapping about pockets hurting, those rumors are starting to look a whole lot less like gossip and a whole lot more like the truth. And that changes everything. If Nicki really is in financial trouble behind the scenes, it would explain why she's refusing to pay the $500,000 judgment. Maybe it's not about pride or stubbornness, like everyone thought. Maybe she genuinely can't afford to let go of that money right now without it affecting everything else. Maybe the image of success she's been projecting doesn't match the reality of what's happening behind closed doors. The problem is, the longer she waits, the worse it gets. Interest keeps piling up on that judgment, and now a judge is seriously considering ordering her home to be sold. That's not something you can just tweet your way out of, or ignore until it goes away. This is real legal action with real consequences. Then there's Kenneth Petty, and honestly, he deserves his own chapter in this mess because he's been a constant source of legal drama for Nicki. He has a past criminal record from 1995 that he failed to properly register, and he's had multiple run-ins with the law since marrying her. Back in September 2023, he violated his probation after releasing videos where he and his crew were in New York actively looking for Cardi's then-husband Offset. In the clips, Petty and his associates were making threats, which landed him with 120 days of house arrest for violating the terms of his supervised release. That should have been a wake-up call. But now this incident from 2019 is back in the spotlight, and it's dragging Nicki down with it in the worst way possible. The court documents make it crystal clear that even though Kenneth was the one who allegedly struck the guard, Nicki is just as responsible for paying the judgment because she was present and involved in the situation. Her refusal to distance herself from his actions, her refusal to even respond to the lawsuit, means she's on the hook financially. And it's putting her entire lifestyle at risk. Everything she's built, everything she's worked for, could be gone because she won't pay $500,000. Let that sink in for a second. A woman reportedly worth over $150 million might lose her $20 million mansion over $500,000. The math isn't mathing, as they say, and people are starting to ask uncomfortable questions. So where does this leave Nicki right now? Let's break it down because the situation is getting worse by the day. She's facing a court order that could strip her of her $20 million home. She's in the middle of a public beef with Cardi B that's turning uglier by the day and making her look worse every time she tweets. Her husband's legal issues keep resurfacing and causing more problems that she has to deal with. And on top of all that, there are persistent rumors that she's dealing with serious debt behind the scenes. Rumors that Cardi literally put in a song that's charting right now. The court has made it clear they're not playing games anymore. They've stated that although it's regrettable to force the sale of someone's home, Nicki's refusal to pay has left them no choice. They're going to be watching her finances closely moving forward, and she'll have to submit tax returns and quarterly earnings reports if she wants any chance of working out a deal. But so far, Nicki has been completely silent on the mansion situation. No public statement, no acknowledgement of the lawsuit, nothing. Radio silence, just like when she ignored the original lawsuit back in 2019. Meanwhile, Cardi is sitting back watching the whole thing unfold like it's the best entertainment she's had in years. She's been dropping hints on social media, liking posts about karma coming back around, and letting her fans run absolutely wild with the jokes and memes. It's like she doesn't even need to say anything anymore because the situation is literally speaking for itself. Every day that goes by without Nicki addressing this makes it look worse. Every court filing that drops gives Cardi more ammunition, and the fans are eating it up. The bigger question that nobody's really talking about yet is whether Nicki can actually bounce back from this. Losing a mansion is one thing. Plenty of celebrities have lost properties and bounced back. But the optics of refusing to pay someone you and your husband allegedly harmed, someone who needed 8 medical procedures to fix what happened to him, is something else entirely. It paints a picture of someone who's either completely out of touch with reality or in way deeper trouble than anyone realized. And with Cardi thriving right now, dropping a successful album and staying in the headlines for all the right reasons, the contrast between them is getting harder and harder to ignore. One is rising while the other seems to be falling, and that narrative is taking hold. Nicki built her entire career on being untouchable, on being the queen who couldn't be knocked off her throne no matter what happened. For over a decade, she maintained that image flawlessly. But right now, in October 2025, it's looking like the crown might be slipping. Whether it's karma finally catching up, bad timing with everything hitting at once, or just the natural consequences of years of unchecked behavior, one thing is absolutely certain. The world is watching every single move. The Barbs are defending her. The Barty gang is attacking her. The media is covering every new development, and Nicki's next move could determine whether she holds on to her empire or watches it crumble right in front of her, while Cardi B sits back and enjoys the show. The clock is ticking, the court is waiting, and everyone wants to know what happens next. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss any of the celebrity gossip. Thanks for watching.